Dear students, welcome in the class of BA Part 2nd, subject English Literature Paper Fest, Poetry and Drama. I am Dr. Sumer Singh, Assistant Professor, Department of English, Government Lohia College, Churu. Today we will study G.M. Hopkins's poem Spring and Fall. As we know that G.M. Hopkins is also one of the most important poets of English literature. G.M. Hopkins is such a poet who belongs to both ages, Victorian age and the modern age. By birth and time, he belongs to the Victorian age, but due to the quality of his poetry, he is known as the modern poet because his poetry published in the modern age and the quality and the characteristics of his poetry also similar to the modern poetry. So as a poet he is regarded as a modern poet, and by birth, by time, he is a Victorian poet because his period belongs to the Victorian age. G.M. Hopkins is a religious poet and he was a clergyman by profession, so he wrote religious poems, and his poems were written in Petrarchan sonnet. He wrote all his poems into the form of sonnet, and he adopted the Petrarchan form of sonnet, or we can say that Miltonic form of sonnet. So his poems are written in the Miltonic or Petrarchan form of sonnet. And as we know that being a religious poet, he wrote all the religious poems. As a poet, G.M. Hopkins believes blindly into the supremacy of God, and he says that God is the creator of this world, God is the father of this world, and he has created this beautiful world. And God is always benevolent, always merciful and kind towards the human being in this world. And human being as well as the whole human world is created by the mercy of God. So this is the belief of G.M. Hopkins as a religious poet. Dear students, today we will study G.M. Hopkins's very important and very beautiful poem entitled Spring and Fall. The title of this poem is also symbolic and suggestive. Spring represents birth and fall represents death, because spring season is the season of birth, it represents birth, and fall means autumn season, it represents, or we can say autumn season is the season of death. So birth and death, this is the symbolic title. Birth and death is the meaning of this title. And birth and death, these are the two important events, these are the two important things of our human life, because as we know that the person who has born in this world will die one day. So these two incidents and these two events are indispensable events of our human life. The person who has born in this world, one day he will depart from this world, or he will die in this world. So spring and fall is the essence, is the main theme of this poem, and that is also the essence of human life. So this poem is based upon the experience of human life. This poem is based on the human life. So this is very interesting poem. This poem is addressed to an imaginary girl named Margaret. Margaret is a young girl, and she is a girl of 3 or 4 years, and she has no experience of human life. So her ideas, her thoughts, her feelings are totally innocent feelings, pure feelings. She doesn't know anything about human life. She doesn't know what is death in this world, and she has no experience of death. So on the falling of the leaves of a tree, she expresses her sorrow. She sheds tear over the death of the leaves of a tree. As we know that in spring season the leaves are green and the leaves are flourish upon the tree, and in the autumn season these leaves turn into yellow color and lastly they die and they fall on the earth. So that is the death of these leaves. So upon the death of these leaves, Margaret sheds tear and expresses her sorrow. So the poem is addressed to this imaginary girl Margaret, and addressing to Margaret, the poet gives the message of this human life, that as birth is the important event of our human life, in the same way death is also important event of our human life, that is the end of our human life. So if there is the beginning of anything, then there is the end of anything. So this message of life is communicated in this poem. So let's start the poem. And as we know that the poem is a sonnet, it is written in a form of a sonnet, or we can say it's a short poem. So as we know that the poem is addressed to an imaginary girl Margaret. So the poet says to that girl, "Oh Margaret, are you grieving?" Grieving means shedding tears, weeping. So the poet addresses to the girl, the poet says to the girl that, "Oh Margaret, are you grieving? Are you shedding tears? Are you weeping over golden grove unliving?" Over the golden grove, it means golden is the color of the dead leaves, golden is the color of the leaves in autumn season. Grove means the group of the trees, or we can say the forest, and the cluster of the trees. Unliving, it means shedding of the leaves. So in the autumn season, the leaves are turned into yellow color, they are dead, and one by one they are falling on the ground. So it is the death of these leaves. Margaret, being an innocent girl, being an unexperienced girl, sheds tear over the death of these leaves, over the falling of these leaves on the ground. So the poet says to that girl, "Oh Margaret, are you grieving? Are you shedding tears over the death of these leaves?" Leaves like the things of man. The poet says to the girl that these leaves are similar to the human being, because each and everything is transitory in this world, each and everything is momentary in this world, nothing is permanent in this world. As leaves are dying, in the same way man is also mortal, man is also transitory and momentary. So there is a similarity between man and the leaves, because they are both are we can say that transitory, momentary and impermanent in this world. So he says that leaves are also like the human being, they are similar human being. It means leaves are also mortal in this world, human being is also mortal in this world. You with fresh thoughts care for, he says to that girl, you with fresh thoughts, it means your thoughts are fresh, your ideas are fresh. So with your pure thoughts, with your innocent mind, you care for these leaves, you care and you serious about the death of these leaves, because your thoughts are fresh and you are innocent. So you are expressing sorrow over the death of these leaves. Can you, he asked a rhetoric question to that girl, can you, it means are you not weeping over the death of these leaves? So, or he says to that girl that you are weeping, you are shedding tears over the death of these leaves due to your innocent mind, due to your innocent heart, because you have no experience of the truth of this human life. And what is the truth of this human life? Death is permanent, death is inevitable, and we have to die in this world like the leaves or the other things in this world. So in this way we can say that the poet tells about the truth of human life, the fact of human life. So स्टूडेंट्स, जी.एम. हॉपकिंस इस पोएम में ये बताना चाहता है कि इस दुनिया के अंदर और इस ह्यूमन वर्ल्ड में जो कोई भी चीज़ है जिसने इस जन्म ले रखा है इस चीज़ में, इस दुनिया में, वो एक दिन इस संसार से जाएगी। यानी मौत हर चीज़ की है, हर चीज़ इस संसार में परमानेंट नहीं है, इम्परमानेंट है, मोमेंट्री, ट्रांजिटरी है, एवर लास्टिंग नहीं है। इसलिए वो मार्गरेट को कहता है कि आप इन डेड लीव्स की डेथ पे आंसू बहा रहे हो, ये डेड लीव्स ही ह्यूमन बीइंग की तरह है और ह्यूमन बीइंग भी इन डेड लीव्स की तरह है। एवरीथिंग इज इम्परमानेंट इन दिस वर्ल्ड एंड यू शेड टीयर्स ड्यू टू योर इनोसेंट आइडियाज। As the heart grows older, the poet says to that girl, as heart grows older, it means your heart, your mind will grow older. Your mind, your heart will grow experience older, and you will grow in this world. You will be mature in this world, and when you will be experience holder in this world, it will come to such sights colder. Then your heart will be colder or insensitive towards such sights of death. So he says to that girl that when you will be mature, when you will be experience holder in this world, or when you will see the human life, then your heart will be totally insensitive or careless about such scenes and sights of death, because the scenes and sights of death are common in human world, because man is mortal in this world. So death is, we can say that the fact of this human life. Death is, we can say that ultimate end of this human life. So he says that your heart will be colder for these scenes and sights of death. By and by, nor spare a sight. And by and by means when you will see that scenes of death one by one in this world, when you will grow, then nor spare a sigh. There will be no even a sigh to express in your heart for the scene of death. सो पोइट ये कहना चाहता है इस पोएम में, और ये कहता है मार्गरेट को कि जब आप मैच्योर हो जाएंगी, जब आप इस ह्यूमन लाइफ का एक्सपीरियंस प्राप्त कर लेंगी, जब आप इस ह्यूमन लाइफ में डेथ के सीन वन बाय वन देखेंगी, तो आप डेथ के सीन पे, मौत पे एक साही तक, एक आह तक भी एक्सप्रेस नहीं करेंगे, क्योंकि दैट विल बी द नॉर्मल सीन एंड साइट ऑफ दिस ह्यूमन वर्ल्ड. वो इस संसार का एक सामान्य सीन हो जाएगा. दो वर्ड्स ऑफ वेनवुड, लीफ मिल लाई, लीफ मिल, दिस इज द वर्ड. गोल्डन ग्रोव, लीफ मिल, these are the words and phrases coined by G.M. Hopkins, because G.M. Hopkins is a experimentator in English language and in English poetry. He has coined so many words, and he has given in English literature, in English poetry, so many literary theories also. So he says that though words of Venwood, he says that though words of Venwood means, Ven means yellow wood, yellow forest, because in autumn season the whole forest turn into yellow color, all the leaves turn into yellow color. So he says to Margaret, though यद्यपि से पूरा फॉरेस्ट और पूरा पीले कलर का फॉरेस्ट क्या हो जाए, लीफ मिल लाई, वन बाय वन लीव्स, वन बाय वन the leaves will fall on the earth. It means one by one all the leaves of the trees will shed, they will fall on the ground. You will not express even a sigh, you will not express even a slight sorrow over the death of these leaves. So पोइट क्या कहना चाहता है, पोइट ये कहना चाहता है कि जो पूरा पीला फॉरेस्ट है वो पत्ती रहित हो जाए, एक एक पत्ती करके सारी गिर जाएं, आप उस समय आह तक नहीं भरेंगे, उस समय थोड़ा सा भी सोरो एक्सप्रेस नहीं करेंगे, बिकॉज एट दैट टाइम यू विल बी मैच्योर्ड, यू विल बी एक्सपीरियंस होल्डर, और यू विल बी फैमिलियर विद द ईच एंड एवरी इंसिडेंट ऑफ ह्यूमन लाइफ. जिंदगी की हर घटना से आप वाकिफ हो जाएंगे, जिंदगी की हर घटना को आप जानने लग जाएंगे, तो आप सोरो एक्सप्रेस नहीं करेंगे, आह तक एक्सप्रेस नहीं करेंगे. एंड येट दिस इज द टर्न इन दिस पोएम. This is the sustain part of this poem, because the poem is divided into the two parts. In the first part, the poet expresses the main idea that Margaret is the innocent girl. She has no experience of death, so she is expressing sorrow. She is shedding tears over the death of leaves. She doesn't know what is death in this world. She doesn't know that like leaves, man is also mortal, man is also transitory and momentary. But when she will be matured, experience holder, then she will not express even a single tear over the scene of death, but still she will express sorrow, still she will weep at this time due to the experience of death. And why she will express sorrow? Because she will be familiar about the fact of life, that she is also mortal, she is also transitory. So at that time she will be serious about her own death. Now she is serious, weeping and shedding tears over the death of the leaves, and at that time after experience she will shed tears, or she will be serious about her own death. So experience is also the knowledge of this world, and if the knowledge of this world, then she will know that myself is also transitory, momentary, I will also go away from this world. So the poet says, and there is a turn in this poem, turn in the thought at this time, at this juncture of poem, and yet you will weep and know why. He says to the girl or Margaret that when you will be mature, then you will also be serious, then you will be also shed tears, because at that time you will shed tears upon your own death, upon the idea of your own death, that I will also take departure from this world one day. And know why, and at that time you will be familiar with the fact that why you are shedding tears, why you are serious, because you know that my end is also near, and I will also take departure from this world. I am also mortal like the leaves. So at that time you will know the reason. Now you don't know the reason, that what is the reason of this death, and at that time you will know the reason of death. No, now no matter. He says to that girl, now no matter, it is not the matter of shedding tears. Child, the name. She says to that girl, oh child, the name of the sorrow is the same. The name of the sorrow is the same, or is the one, that is death. Death is the name of the sorrow in this world. Death is the cause of shedding tears in this world, and the same name, that is death. Now there is the death of the dead leaves, and at that time there will be the death of the human being. So death is the source of sorrow in this world. Death is the sole cause of sorrow and shedding tears in this world. So he says to that girl that the name is the same. The name sorrows springs the same. He says that the name of the sorrow springs the same. It means the cause of the sorrow is the same, that is death, whether it is the matter of the natural world or whether it is the matter of the human world. So in natural world as well as in the human world, the cause of sorrow is the death, and sorrow springs from the same name, springs from the same cause, and that is death, that is mortality. So mortality is the main theme of this poem. That's the main idea of this poem. Now no matter, child, the same. Sorrow springs are the same, nor mouth had. The poet says the nor mouth had, nor mind expressed what heart heard of, ghost guessed. So he says that no mouth, no language can express the cause of sorrow in this world, nor mind can interpret, nor mind can explain the cause of sorrow. Only heart heard, only our heart, only our soul can experience the cause of sorrow, and that is death. So death is not, we can say, analyzed, it can't be interpreted, it can't be expressed, or the cause of sorrow is not analyzed, expressed, but it is conceived, it is, we can say, felt by our heart. So it is the matter of heart, and the feeling of death automatically brings or invites tears into our eyes. So it is only felt by our heart, it is not explained by any logic, it is not analyzed by our mind and talent. It is the matter of our heart, it is the matter of our soul, and soul and heart can conceive the meaning of death. Ghost guessed, because it is a ghost, that is guessed, that is imagined, that is felt by our heart. So this is the matter of death, or this is the matter of sorrow in this world. It is the blight man was born for, it is the blight man was born for in this world. So it is the blight, it is the original cause of sorrow, it is the, we can say, poet here refers to the original sin that is committed by Adam and Eve in this world. What kind of sin was committed by Adam and Eve? That is called original sin. So Adam and Eve are considered our father, and they plucked the fruit of knowledge in Eden garden, and then Eden garden changed into earth, and we are made human being. So we are the human being, we here suffer from sorrow, we here face the terror of death, we here face the tragedy of death due to the original cause of our father Adam has committed, or the sin that was committed by Adam in the Eden garden. So that is the blight, that is the original sin committed by Adam, and man as a human being is born in this world to suffer this sorrow, or to experience this sorrow, or to face the death. So death is introduced in this human world due to the original sin committed by Adam and Eve in Eden garden. So the poet refers that original sin that was committed by our father Adam, and he says that man is born in this world to face death. So we can say the person or the thing which has taken birth will die one day and will face death one day. So birth and death are the ultimate goal, we can say ultimate events of this human life. So he says that man is, human being is only born in this world to face the problem of death, and she or he has to face the death. It is Margaret you mourn for, and he says to Margaret that it is the same cause, that is the death. It is the same cause of sorrow, that is the death, for which you are shedding tears. So he says to that imaginary girl that it is the same cause, it is the same sorrow, that is death, for which you are weeping, or for which you are shedding tears. So, oh Margaret, you are shedding tears for the same name of the sorrow, that is death, for the same cause of sorrow, that is death. So you are shedding tears at this time for death, and in future when you will be matured, experience holder, then you will also express sorrow, you will also shed tears for death. So death is permanent in this world, human being is impermanent in this world. So each and everything which has taken birth in this world will face the ultimate goal of death in this human world, or in this natural world. So in this poem, the poet tells about the mortality. The poet tells about the transitory nature of human being, the momentary nature of human being, and he wants to tell that everything in this world is impermanent, transitory, momentary, and everything will pass away from this world which has come in this world. So it's a very beautiful, short and sweet poem, and the poem is about human being, and the essence of this poem is the birth and death. That is the essence, that is the, we can say, main idea of this poem. So dear students, today we have discussed J.M. Hopkins poem Spring and Fall. It is a symbolic poem, and it is very interesting and very, we can say, meaningful poem, and I can say that you have enjoyed it. So this is the sufficient for today, and in the next class we will discuss the another poem. Thank you for today. Thanks a lot for patience listening. Thank you.